Today, we're diving into some pretty unexpected news involving Tesla, a name that for many of us has become almost interchangeable with electric vehicles. It's the brand that's not only dominated headlines, but also spearheaded a massive shift in how people perceive EVs. Yet, despite all this fame and a track record of posting impressive sales figures, Tesla is now reportedly facing a significant downturn, with double-digit declines in the United States, the world's biggest EV market, and an equally unsettling drop in Europe. If, like me, you've always seen Tesla as a market leader, you're probably wondering what's going on and why this is happening. Is it due to ramped-up competition? Have people's views on Tesla changed? Or is it all related to Elon Musk's high-profile public persona? In this video, we'll break down exactly what the latest data shows, why Tesla's sales might be falling, and what could happen from here. As always, if you want to dig into the full stories yourself, I've linked the original articles right below in the description. By the time we wrap up, you'll have a clear understanding of the current EV landscape, how Tesla got here, and where they and the broader electric vehicle industry might be heading next. So, let's get started on this deep dive into Tesla's surprising sales slump. To put this new situation into perspective, let's rewind a bit and remember how Tesla established itself as the electric vehicle brand to beat. When Tesla first hit the scene with its Roadster, it managed to achieve what other EVs at the time struggled to do. It didn't just show that electric cars could be practical, it proved they could be fast, sleek, and cool. That instant injection of excitement turned heads in an automotive world that was still largely skeptical about EVs. Then came the Model S, which went a step further by offering a luxury electric sedan with a genuinely impressive driving range and top-of-the-line performance features. Things really seemed to hit the mainstream when Tesla launched the Model 3, which was pitched as a more affordable EV for everyday folks. The hype surrounding the Model 3's release was massive, and for a while, it looked like Tesla might become the unstoppable force that would drag the entire auto industry into an electric future. During the early years, Tesla had almost zero serious competitors. Traditional automakers were either dabbling in hybrid technology or releasing electric models that didn't quite capture the public's imagination. It wasn't until Tesla started posting big numbers and capturing public attention that companies like Ford, Volkswagen, GM, Hyundai, and Kia began to scramble to release EVs that could genuinely compete. What makes today's news so surprising is that Tesla's decline in sales runs so contrary to the narrative we've been used to hearing for years. Tesla was growing exponentially. Tesla was outcompeting everyone else. Tesla had more orders than it could handle and was building gigafactories around the world to keep up with demand. Yet, according to the latest reports, those soaring sales have hit a speed bump in both the US and Europe. And by the way, before we continue, now's a great time to gently remind you to hit that like button if you're finding this discussion interesting. It helps this video reach more people and supports the channel. Thank you. So, how big of a speed bump are we talking about here? Well, let's start with what's happening in the United States. According to one of the articles linked below, Tesla's US sales have dropped by double digits. If you've been following the EV market, you know this is huge news, because the US has always been Tesla's main stronghold. In states like California, it felt like you couldn't drive a mile without seeing multiple Tesla vehicles on the road. So, why is Tesla slipping in the market that embraced it so enthusiastically? Part of the explanation could be that more electric vehicle options are now available from different automakers. A few years ago, if you wanted a compelling high-range EV, Tesla was practically the only choice. Today, you can pick from Ford's Mustang Mach-E, the Chevy Bolt, Hyundai's Ioniq 5, Kia's EV6, Volkswagen's ID4, and more. Each of these models has its own strengths. Some offer appealing price points, others boast unique designs or interior features. That means the big lead Tesla once had is now being challenged, and many potential EV buyers are no longer just automatically going for the Tesla brand. Price has also become a more contentious point. While Tesla's vehicles aren't strictly in the luxury-only bracket, they tend to cost more than the average car. Tesla has been experimenting with price cuts, as well as small price hikes, to keep demand balanced with supply. But now that there are electric cars across a wider range of price tiers, customers have far more choices. If you can get a stylish, feature-rich EV for less, or at least for a similar price, why not consider the alternatives? At some point, the Tesla brand name alone might not be enough to justify a higher cost, especially if competing vehicles are matching Tesla's range and tech. Consumer perception, too, plays a significant role. Tesla used to be seen as the scrappy underdog taking on traditional automakers. That narrative has shifted over time. As Tesla matured into a giant in its own right, some of the brand's underdog appeal might have worn off. Moreover, controversies related to build quality, service center delays, and Elon Musk's public image have all chipped away at Tesla's once near invincible brand reputation. Finally, changing government incentives can't be overlooked. Depending on your location in the US, you might or might not get federal or state credits for buying certain EVs. Rules around these incentives have changed recently, and some Tesla models either lost or partially lost eligibility. When another automaker's EV qualifies for more significant credits, it may tip the cost equation in their favor. No single factor here is likely to be the smoking gun that explains all of Tesla's US decline. Instead, it seems to be the result of an increasingly crowded market, evolving consumer opinions, and policy changes that play with the final price. What's happening across the Atlantic is similarly concerning for Tesla. The second article, linked in the description, paints a picture of dropping Tesla sales in Europe too. This isn't just a marginal decline, it's big enough to cause some alarm. In Europe, you could argue the pressure on Tesla might be even greater than it is in the US. European automakers have been around for ages. Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Renault, Peugeot, and they all jumped into the EV game once they realized it was the future. Since this is their home territory, they enjoy brand loyalty and a manufacturing advantage on the continent. It's not just about brand loyalty, though. Europe has been aggressively pushing for lower emissions and has enacted a variety of incentives and penalties aimed at nudging both automakers and consumers towards zero-emission vehicles. This has given European car makers a strong motive to develop EV offerings quickly. As a result, buyers in Europe now have a plethora of choices, from sporty hatchbacks to family SUVs, all while remaining in the same price bracket as a Tesla, sometimes even lower. Charging infrastructure, once one of Tesla's biggest strong points, has also become more democratized in Europe. Tesla's exclusive supercharger network, often praised for being more reliable and widespread than third-party options, is gradually opening up to other electric vehicles in various European countries. That was one of Tesla's unique selling points, because if you owned a Tesla, you could easily charge almost anywhere. Now, if other EVs can use Tesla's superchargers too, owning a Tesla is no longer the golden ticket to the best fast charging network. Of course, some people have pointed to Elon Musk's public persona and social media presence as potential reasons for cooling enthusiasm. While the data suggests this isn't the sole reason, it's plausible that a subset of buyers might feel uneasy about aligning themselves with a brand so heavily tied to one figure. Musk's style appeals to some, but it can also alienate others, particularly when European sensibilities might differ from American ones. What's important to note here is that Tesla's decline in Europe isn't happening in a vacuum. Virtually every major automaker is launching new electric models, or doubling down on existing ones, and governments are doubling down on EV adoption targets. The electrification wave is unstoppable at this point, and Tesla no longer has the same novelty factor. Just like in the US, Tesla faces a more competitive, more diverse, and more informed consumer base than it did a few years ago. Even though both articles make it clear that Elon Musk isn't the sole reason for Tesla's slipping sales, it's hard to avoid talking about him for at least a moment. Whether you find him inspiring or controversial, Musk's presence is deeply woven into Tesla's image. For years, he played the role of visionary entrepreneur, the guy who was pushing the boundaries of space travel, tunneling, and AI, all while driving the EV revolution forward. There's no denying that Musk's ability to generate media attention and enthusiastic fan followings has helped Tesla stand out in a marketplace dominated by century-old companies. At the same time, every celebrity CEO walks a fine line between publicity that helps the brand and publicity that hurts it. Some of Musk's more polarizing decisions, such as his involvement with Twitter, now known as X, have led to debates that overshadow Tesla's core products. Although plenty of customers may not care about what Musk does or says outside Tesla. In a crowded EV market, a negative association could push some potential buyers to look elsewhere. Still, it would be overly simplistic to blame this entire sales slump on Elon Musk's public persona. Tesla was always going to face increased competition as soon as other automakers realized the money to be made in electric vehicles. Over the last couple of years, that competitive landscape has exploded, with new entrants and established giants alike all vying for market share. People may love or hate Musk, but if they can get a better deal or a vehicle that aligns more with their preferences from another company, those feelings about Musk simply become one factor among many. So, is Tesla's story heading toward a downturn it can't recover from, or is this merely a temporary blip? If there's one thing we can learn from Tesla's history, it's that they've shown resilience and adaptability more than once. The brand still has some major cards to play, including the upcoming Cybertruck, the long-promised next-generation Roadster, and ongoing developments in battery technology that could lead to longer ranges and lower production costs. Tesla also has the advantage of a robust supercharger network in many places, and even if other EVs start to share that network more frequently, there's still plenty of room to expand and innovate. One possibility is that Tesla leans heavily into price competitiveness. The company has been known to adjust its vehicle prices quite frequently, sometimes several times a year, to respond to market conditions. If Tesla can successfully lower the cost of its models without sacrificing too much profitability or quality, it might hold on to a substantial chunk of market share. On the other hand, if Tesla keeps its prices high while competitors offer comparable vehicles at more accessible rates, the brand's decline could continue. Another dimension of Tesla's future will hinge on service and build quality improvements. A number of would-be buyers have cited concerns about panel gaps, paint issues, or delays at service centers. As more established automakers provide EVs, they bring with them decades of experience in manufacturing and service networks. If Tesla wants to compete successfully, it needs to prove that it can match or beat those well-honed service standards. Brand loyalty may also come into play. Some Tesla owners love their cars so much that they can't imagine switching to another maker, especially if they've grown accustomed to the minimalist interiors, the advanced infotainment systems, and even the frequent over-the-air software updates that improve the vehicle over time. That loyalty is a significant asset, but brand loyalty can be tested if negative perceptions around quality or leadership overshadow everything else. Ultimately, Tesla's fate might not be a simple success or fail scenario. The EV landscape is massive and diverse, and there's plenty of room for multiple winners. Tesla can remain a strong player and still lose some market share to new entrants. The real question is whether Tesla's downturn is part of a necessary market correction, where it shifts from a near monopoly on desirable EVs to being one brand among many, or a sign of deeper issues that will significantly erode its standing over time. Given how central Tesla has been to the public's understanding of electric cars, these recent declines could hold big implications for the larger EV market. In one sense, it might simply signal a healthier, more competitive sector. A market dominated by one brand often stagnates, but now that so many companies are jostling for position, consumers have more choices, prices can become more competitive, and innovation speeds up. On the other hand, if Tesla's struggles were to become so pronounced that it created a perception problem for electric vehicles, that could have a ripple effect. Many people still see Tesla as the face of the entire EV revolution. If the face of that revolution seems to be losing its sparkle, some consumers might wonder if EVs are truly ready to replace traditional cars. There's no clear evidence that this is happening yet, but it's worth keeping in mind how strongly Tesla's brand is tied to the overall narrative of electric vehicles. There's also the chance that Tesla's decline could eventually stabilize, especially if they roll out new models that capture the public's imagination. The Cybertruck, for instance, has generated enormous buzz, and while it's faced delays, it could still be a game changer for Tesla if it resonates with truck buyers. If the company successfully launches a new generation of more affordable vehicles, it could find a whole new segment of the population that it hasn't tapped into yet. None of this is set in stone. Tesla's story has always been dynamic, full of ups and downs, breakthroughs, and setbacks. The company has repeatedly reinvented itself, and even as the competition ramps up, Tesla still benefits from being the best-known electric car brand in the world. While the sales figures might be less rosy than before, writing Tesla off completely would be premature. So, to sum up, Tesla, once seemingly invincible in the electric vehicle space, has recently seen a notable decline in sales in both the United States and Europe. The reasons for this slump are multifaceted. On one hand, competition is fiercer than ever, with many established automakers finally catching up to Tesla's lead in technology, design, and range. On the other, some consumers might be turned off by controversies surrounding service quality or Elon Musk's public persona, while others simply find better deals or incentives with rival brands. Where does this leave Tesla? The company could absolutely bounce back with new vehicles, improved technology, better service, and a pricing strategy that resonates with a broader range of consumers. However, the brand no longer exists in a vacuum where it's the only serious contender. Even if Tesla recovers, we're clearly entering a new phase of the electric vehicle market, one defined by multiple strong players, each with compelling offerings. In that sense, Tesla's decline might just be a natural adjustment in a maturing marketplace, rather than a sign of doom and gloom. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into Tesla's sales issues and what they mean for the future of electric vehicles. If you want more details, the articles I mentioned are linked in the description below, so feel free to check them out and form your own opinions. Meanwhile, let me know in the comments what you think about this decline. Is it a temporary dip for Tesla, or are we witnessing the start of a significant shift in the EV industry's power balance? If you found this video insightful, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps support the channel and allows me to continue bringing you in-depth looks at the latest in electric vehicles, renewable energy, and other innovations shaping our world. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, drive safe, stay curious, and take care.